Control decks. You either love them or you hate them, but they're kind of a necessity in most, if not every TCG, as a way to basically combat those top decks in the format. And one control deck that has been seeing a lot of play recently, especially post-rotation, is Crustle, released back in, I think, Twilight Masquerade, Surging Sparks, I think it was actually. No, it wasn't. It was released in Destined Rivals, so actually pretty recently, like a year ago. And this card at the time was hyped up to be very, very strong. I mean, its ability, Mysterious Rock-In, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon EX. That already is incredibly strong, considering, you know, the format is full of EX Pokemon. You just play this and you can't take any damage. But it's not as simple as that. The card was strong, but it just didn't really see a whole lot of play because there were many different ways that you can just play around it. Like, a lot of decks were playing non-EX attackers, or just like non-EX Pokemon that could very easily take care of it. Its attack also takes a bit of time to get going, costing 3 energy. A grass and 2 colorless does 120 damage, and this attack's damage isn't affected by any effects of your opponent's active Pokemon. So it can hit through things that can't take damage from certain things, or maybe it has like reduced damage or anything like that. So it has a pretty decent attack as well. But again, the card just didn't really see a whole lot of play. But post-rotation, this deck is everywhere. At the regional in Los Angeles, it didn't do as well as it did in Prague, but in Prague, it got 2nd, 7th, 10th, 24th, 27th, 39th, 49th, 60th, 74th, 90th, 100th, 120th, and 140th, compared to Los Angeles, where it got 105th and 118th. Yeah, this deck got 2nd place at Prague, which I believe was the first post-rotation regional that we had. So, yeah, the deck is good. Purely because a lot of the stuff pre-rotation was just very easily able to out it. The format seems to be a lot slower. There's also a lot less like hand control, I suppose, might have been a problem for this deck. But I'm just guessing the decks at that time were just able to just, you know, deal with this very, very easily. But post-rotation, this deck is very, very strong. So getting into the deck list, we have a 4-3 line of our main Crustle, 1 Cornerstone Mask Ogopon, which has a very similar ability, prevent all damage from attacks done to this Pokemon by your opponent's Pokemon that have an ability. And then its Demolish attack does 140 damage for 2 colorless and a fighting. Its attack's damage isn't affected by weakness or resistance or by any effects of your opponent's active Pokemon. So it's kind of like Crustle, but it can't be damaged by Pokemon with abilities. So if you're up against a deck where the Pokemon has an ability but it's not an EX Pokemon, then you can instead use this. Because Crustle can't be damaged by EX Pokemon, but it can still be damaged by Pokemon with abilities. Cornerstone Mask Ogopon can be damaged by Pokemon EX, but if they have an ability, then can't be damaged. And there are certain non-Rulebox Pokemon that have abilities, like Alakazam, for example. But Alakazam technically doesn't deal damage, but we play Mist Energy, so it kind of makes up for it in that regard. And then we're also playing 2 Mega Kangaskhan with Run Errand and Rapid Fire combo. And that's all the Pokemon. Yep, we are playing a grand total of 8. No, we're playing a grand total of 3, 4, 10 Pokemon. Yeah, we're playing 10 Pokemon. That's it. Nothing else. Alright, on to items and supporters. We're playing 2 Buddy Buddy Puffin, 4 Jumbo Ice Cream. It says heal 80 damage from your active Pokemon that has 3 or more energy attached. You can kind of see this deck's game plan is to just sit on a Crustle or a Cornerstone Mask or even a Mega Kangaskhan and just heal it every turn and just keep attacking and just win the game like that. It's a control deck / stall deck, you get the idea. 4 Pokegear so we can get supporters. We're playing Super Potion. This is the 2nd place list from Prague. They were playing Super Potion, heal 60 damage from one of your Pokemon. If you healed any damage in this way, discarding energy from that Pokemon. I mean, we can just reattach it, doesn't really matter. 1 Switch, 2 Ultra Ball, 1 Forest of Vitality, which allows us to go immediately into a Crustle, which is just ridiculous. 1 Team Rocket's Factory, because we are playing Petrol. And then for supporters, 4 Boss's Orders, 2 Chorus's Tenacity, this lets us get a Stadium card and an Energy card. 2 Hilda, 4 Lily's Determination, 1 Pokemon Center Lady, heals 60 damage and remove all special conditions from one of your Pokemon. So it's Super Potion, but it doesn't have the downside of discarding an energy. We're playing 4 Petrol to get out those nifty trainer cards. I only reread this card the other day. I thought it said item card. No, you can get any trainer card, so you could even get another supporter if you wanted to for next turn. 1 Xerosix Machinations, which lets us discard our opponent's hand down to 3 cards. 1 Hero's Cape, you know, just slap this on a Crustle, it's now 250 HP. Cornerstone Mask is 310, and Mega Kangaskhan, I believe, is 400, yes. 4 Growing Energy, this says that our Pokemon gets an additional 20 HP, so our Crustle is 170, with Hero's Cape 270. 4 Mist Energy, prevent all effects of attacks used by your opponent's Pokemon, dungeons, Pokemon the card is attached to, so this gets around stuff like Phantom Dives, Ping 60 on bench. It also gets around Alakazam, as I said earlier, because it doesn't do damage, it technically does an effect as a damage. Prevent all effects of attacks. It's an effect of an attack, it's not damage. We're playing 2 Rocky Energy, prevent all effects of attacks used by your opponent's Pokemon done to your fighting Pokemon. So it's the same thing as Mist Energy, but for fighting Pokemon, and we also need a fighting energy in order to attack with Cornerstone Mask. Playing 4 Spike Energy. If the Pokemon's card is attached to is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack, put 2 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. So if our opponent does try to hit us with something to try and whittle down the Crustle, they're just going to get hit back for... They're basically just going to take damage back, if you understand what I mean. It's like slap 2 of these on a Crustle and you get item locked, so goodbye Badoo. Badoo is now dead. And then 1 Grass Energy, you know, just in case we need it, in case we prize any of these growing energies. So I'm going to take this deck onto the ladder as usual, and this is my first time playing the deck, so mistakes may happen. It's all a learning experience, as I say every single time, but we will see how the deck goes. I also apologise if you hear any bang in the background. It's like been on and off raining for the past couple of hours, and it just started hailing really badly. A Tails always fails, except when it doesn't. But going first or second with this deck, I think we want to go maybe first, maybe second, because we're not playing Badoo, so I think we probably want to go first. Our opponent's choosing to go first. And he's fine, because I don't know what I'm doing. To be honest, don't know what I'm doing with this deck. Dwebble. We do have a Mist Spike. So they do threaten something like it. Well, they're going first. Okay, they're playing Alakazam. This Mist Energy is going to go very, very nice. Though Alakazam does play Enhanced Hammer. I want to see how this matchup fares, actually, because I think this is probably one of the deck's more difficult matchups. Purely because you need Mist Energy and or the fighting special energy to basically stop yourself taking damage from Alakazam, excuse me. So I genuinely might slap... Actually, what does this do? Search your deck. Draw a card that evolves from this Pokemon and put it onto this Pokemon and evolve it. Ooh. I think I might slap the Mist. They're probably not going to be attacking anytime soon, but I still want to slap this on, because these are kind of useless, because it doesn't actually attack. I'm going to slap the Mist Energy on, and then Lily. We get Cornerstone Mask, we get a Buddy Puffin, so we can get some more Dwebbles into play. I might burn off one of these Pokegears. Don't need Cornerstone Mask, because it's just a free 2 prizer. We will use Pokegear. Petrol, what can Petrol get us? Because this is going to take us a while to get built up. So I think maybe the Petrol. I'm trying to think of what I can get with the Petrol. I think in this instance the Lily is probably better, because we can do that and that and that. I am going to Ascension to evolve into Crustle. Which doesn't really matter because, well, it's not playing any EX Pokemon, but that Mist Energy is going to be very, very useful. I'm going to evolve straight into Alakazam. I'm going to draw some cards. They don't need much to knock me out. They need... I can't do math. It's what, 20 damage? So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. That's 8. They need 8 cards in hand. But they also need to get rid of this evolving Alakazams very early instead of into Kadabras. Might come back to bite, to be honest. If they powerful hand, that's going to be very funny, because I don't know if you've read Mist Energy. It's like they only have so many enhanced hammers. I think they only play like 2. Powerful hand doesn't do anything because I have Mist Energy. And I can just slap another one on, actually. I will evolve into Crustle. I will slap another Mist Energy on here. That would be pretty funny, actually. I'm going to Ultra Ball away these two because I don't really need them. In for another Crustle. Put Crustle down. I'm going to slap on another Mist Energy, even though I'm pretty sure it doesn't really stack. It might do. Yeah, well, Lily. The Jumbo Ice Cream, Spike Energy. Spike Energy... I don't know if Spike Energy even does anything, to be honest, but I'm just going to pass here. We do have the Growing Energy. Gives that additional HP. Evolving into Kadabra. I don't even know if they are playing... I mean, they have to be playing Enhanced Hammer. They play at least 1 or 2, but we are playing like 4 copies. They are just going to boss up the other Crustle powerful hand for a knockout. That's fine by me, because that means they're wasting bosses. And you've only got so many bosses to use. Bring that up I could. I think how I do this. So we are going to slap on the Growing Energy. Gives us more HP. Good Petrol for something. I don't really need to boss anything. I am like 20 damage off, which is kind of annoying. I think Petrol in this situation is like good. Pokemon Center Lady. We do have Hero's Cape, so I could grab that, slap it on the benched one so they need to commit more cards to knock it out. I think that's a good idea. Because this one isn't really like dying. It's a bit unfortunate that we need to do 2 attacks to KO 1 Pokemon. But yeah, now they need multiple, they need more cards in hand to get rid of that Crustle. And they also just can't hit this Crustle in the active. I could actually just sit on this one Crustle, because what are they going to do? Okay, they have all their Alakazams in play. I could actually just... Oh no, because they have Dunsparce, so they can start drawing stuff. I could actually just start picking off stuff on the bench with Boss. Because 2 hits to KO an Alakazam is kind of annoying. I genuinely don't think they are reading what Alakazam, or what Mist Energy does. Slap a Spike Energy on here, I suppose. Yeah. Chorus? Chorus for what is the question? It is raining really heavy. What is going on with the weather today? I think I'll grab a Petrol. And I think I actually want to boss up the Dunsparce. Just start taking KOs, realistically. That's what I need to be doing. It also cuts them off of drawing more cards. So I am going to do that. Because they've got 3 Alakazams in play, that's the draw support for that is cut off. So now we start taking out the Dunsparces. That's very, very nice. That's a very nice card against this deck. So I might actually hold off now on getting rid of those Dunsparces and let them draw a whole bunch of cards and then discard them down to 3. There's the boss. Don't think there's KOs actually. Nope, there's 180. And I have more than enough. Slap that on for even more HP. And then I'm going to switch And then I'm probably going to boss the Dunsparce. And then I'm going to Superb Scissors. Just cutting them off of the draw support. And then when the time is right, hit them with these Cerosics. I think they've used 2 bosses now. Yes. Not sure how many they play, probably 3 or 4. Just want to wait for them to use them all up. Okay, there's a Hilda, so I'm not gonna get hit with a boss. Do need to get a mist energy for this one on the bench. So then I can heal it as well. Attaching enriching. Yes, draw more cards so I can discard them all. This is actually like... I mean, if I didn't have the mist energies, I feel like this would be a bit of a difficult matchup. I think they might be digging for those enhanced hammers. Just got a powerful hand, doesn't do anything. Spike energy. Don't really want to attach that. I think I'm going to Hilda here. Just to grab a mist energy for this Crustle. Yeah. I'm going to grab the mist and that's it. Slap the mist on. And Superb Scissors, I guess. So now if they boss up the other one, they need enhanced hammer to get rid of it. And they conceded. Doesn't really matter. So I actually think going second is probably better because of the fact we have that evolution attack. So yes, I'm going to go second. I forgot that Dwebble actually had that they can just evolve straight into Crustle. That first game was very interesting. I don't think my opponent was reading what my cards did. That's just the thing. Okay, we both mulliganed. I mulliganed once, they also mulliganed once. It was Garchomp. So I think I just sit on this. The thing about Mega Kangaskhan is it's good to draw stuff, but it also is kind of just a liability. Dwebble. They mulliganed again. I will gladly take my extra one. Yeah, I think my opponent in that first game just wasn't reading what Mist Energy did. But even then, it kind of seems like a bit of a struggle matchup. Because if you don't have that Mist Energy, then, you know, things aren't going to go well. In this deck, you have Cynthia, which is a bit of a problem, but I believe Garchomp is weak to grass. Yes, it is. So we kind of do have that advantage. But Spiritomb is kind of a problem because we do hit for 240. So we don't have any damage boosts. So I'm going to slap this here. I'm going to Ultra Ball away. Probably the Kangaskhan and a Lily for another Dwebble. Garchomp doesn't have an ability. So just get another Dwebble and then we Lily. We draw another Dwebble. And then we Ascension into Crustle. Spike Energy could be decent if they decide to do hit with Spiritomb. I can get a bit of damage on it, but it's kind of not needed. Because it is also weak to grass, I've just noticed. Buddy Poffin. We have the Roselia. Thing is that that's another reason why I kind of want to put Mega Kangaskhan down, because with enough damage boost, they just take free prizes. Now I'd rather not have them take free prizes. That's also a problem. Just increase the HP of your Pokemon. I do think Spike Energy is probably the better one to put on. They could also just sit on Gabite and attack with that. That might be a good play, actually. Let's see if they know that. Because genuinely against this matchup, I would just sit on Gabite instead. because 40 damage with damage boosts, like yeah, you are going to get one shot, but you're not putting up a 2-prizer. But they did grab the Garchomp. Getting a Gibble. Another Gibble down. Is this going to be another case where my opponent just doesn't read? Team Rocket's Factory, that's kind of useless. I'm going to evolve. I'm going to put Spike Energy on. And then I think we just Lily again, to be honest. Might put this down just to get rid of it so I don't draw it again. Get another Crustle. I'll save this Pokegear. Next turn's probably going to be another Spike Energy, maybe. Don't think we don't really need Mist Energy against this matchup. So I think we're chilling right now. Key thing to note is I do one-shot Gabite. Right, there's one Roserade. That's an extra, I think Roserade is an extra 30 damage? Yes, it is. Champion's Call, probably for Gabite, into Champion's Call, into Gabite, into Champion's Call, into Roserade. So they are getting an extra 60 damage, which means this, the Dragon Slice does 100. So you actually could attack with Gabite. Something that I would maybe recommend, but I do one-shot you, but I take multiple turns to get set up. So it's kind of actually favourable for you, because I need 3 attaches to get set up, whereas you need 1 and you're doing 100. Just seems a bit favourable. They are going to swap into the Gabite. Are they going to evolve? Because they did search Garchomp last turn. Attaching onto the Gabite in the back. Thing is as well, Jumbo Ice Cream, I can just heal most of it away. They are just going to go for the Dragon Slice. There's a Spike Energy, which doesn't really matter. And there's the Jumbo Ice Cream, so I can just heal away damage. Oh, Pokegear. Give me that. We'll slap on... I do need to get this one powered up. So I think... slap on another Spike, I guess. Jumbo Ice Cream. 80. And Superb Scissors. If I can keep this Crustle alive, then I might just be able to drain them of all their resources. And there's the concession. So far this deck has been performing pretty well. It's almost as if its ability is very, very broken and forces your opponent to think around doing other things that they normally wouldn't do, but you have counters for that. Like them attacking with Gabite instead, but I have plenty of ways to heal damage. Have to start with this. This isn't a good start, actually. But we might be able to make this work. Like, Rapid Fire Combo is a decent attack, but taking 3 turns to power it up. But we have ways of, like, doing stuff. Festival Lead. Ooh, this is an interesting one. Spike Energy in this, Spike Energy against this could be very good. Huh. Damn, if I had a turn 1 donk, that would be so nice. I don't think there's any point chorusing here. I think I'm just gonna run errand, see what I get. I do get a Dwebble. I could evolve, but like, Dwebble against this kind of just doesn't do anything. I might actually just sit on this, to be honest. These are specific to, yeah, so I just have to do Mist. And I could do, actually, I think I'm going to grab a Spike, and then, I guess a Forest, just so I have a way to get rid of their stadium, but I'm not going to put it down yet. Put on the Spike, and we will pass there. I do have energy to get it powered up, and I also just have the Spike because, like, the double attack, it might actually, like, knock it out, to be honest. Because with 3 spikes, they take 60, and then with a second attack, they take 60 more. Swapping out into Goldeen, getting the Thwacky, which just lets them search anything they want, but they don't have Festival Ground in play, and now they do. Thwacky is ridiculous. It's basically Pidgeot EX, but on a stage 1, and it's not once per turn. So if you have multiple of them, you can just search whatever you need. It does require you to have the stadium in play, I'm pretty sure, or a Pokemon with the ability. If your active Pokemon has the Festival Lead ability. Okay. So you just need a Festival Lead Pokemon in the active, and then you can use the ability. Rock Scouting. Let's see, Scouting for 2 Applin. So this deck plays different Applins. Like, every single build just seems to play a different Applin. It's so weird. Right, turns past. Another Jumbo Ice Cream. Sitting on that 300 HP Pokemon could actually be the way. I am going to evolve this. And then putting this down is actually really bad. Because it means they can just... Well, they can evolve anyway, but it just means they can just get Thwacky, and I don't like that. Petrol... Maybe? Maybe that's the play? What am I getting with this? Just slap Mist on. Then Petrol... But Petrol for what is the question? Petrol for another stadium. Petrol for the stadium, draw 2. That's insane. Lily, Cornerstone. They do have abilities. So this actually could be a thing. Yeah. They have abilities, don't they? Because that's the whole point of the deck. Slap that down. And go. This Crustle's just kind of not doing anything. I probably shouldn't have put it down. There's the Max Belt. And the Lily. Okay. You do need Festival Ground. And then the Diplin. There's a Bode. Pretty sure Max Belt doesn't even KO. You're also going to be taking damage from the Spike Energy. I do kind of want to get another Spike Energy on this thing. There's the Grookies. Because, you know, just search whatever you want. 3 Thwackies, you know, that's balanced. Seeking. You have the Rapid Draw, which will do 100, which will do 60. They put down Festival Ground, then it does 120. You can just heal that damage. Boom Boom Groove, probably just search out the stadium. Yep. Right, so just gonna Rapid Draw. Okay, so they do take damage each time they do it. So if I had 3 Spike Energy on that thing, the Seeking would just knock itself out. That's actually kind of interesting. So if I put another one on, or 8, I can get another one. Ooh, this might be the play. Spike. I could also just Rapid Fire combo if I needed to. A Jumbo. I'm fine with 40 HP, I think. They definitely play 4 of the stadium, so putting down this forest doesn't really mean anything. But it does mean they have to waste one of their searches on getting the thing. Plus they already have all these in play anyway, so they're just going to evolve them anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, just Rapid Fire. I want to know how much this does. I'm going to... feel like I should use this. Yeah, I'm just going to use it. I want to be fully healed. I just want to make sure. It doesn't really matter. Because I'm doing 200, so it doesn't matter in the slightest. So I'm pretty sure if I get hit by a Dipplin, it just dies. I need to check how much HP Dipplin has. It has 80. So if I get hit, if I get a double hit from a Dipplin, it knocks itself out. Pretty sure this deck doesn't play any form of special energy removal. Or anything that can remove energy. I'm pretty sure none of the attacks remove energy. There's a Dipplin. This Dipplin is just going to knock itself out. I don't think he realizes that. But he is going to be doing, is what, 20 plus 20 each. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 170 times 2. Does that kill? I think that kills. So the trade-off isn't even worth it. Okay, they get rid of the forest. Boom, boom, groove. Keep doing your boom, boom, groove. Probably should have petroled for the Hero's Cape now that I think about it. To get 400 HP. Mega Kangaskhan did its job while it could. It's going to take this Dipplin down with it. I'm pretty sure this Dipplin's going to kill me. Because it's doing yeah, exact KO. 20. 20. But if I put up this Cornerstone Mask, I genuinely... Well, they do play... I think they play one Rillaboom. I'm not really sure what Rillaboom does. I have to check. That's if they're playing Rillaboom. Rillaboom is 60 damage. And then attacks used by the defending Pokemon costs a colorless more, and its retreat cost is 1 colorless more. They do get 3 prize cards out of this. But I do have Cornerstone. Are they just going to spray fluid on me? That's not nice. Slap this on. Could boss up one of the Flackies. Because then they can't do searches. And also just stall for a turn. Although I could just get something. This is a bit difficult. I think I'm going to boss up a Thwacky and pretty sure they play Switch, but they can't use the ability. So, okay, they have the air balloon. Switching into Applin. They're just going to attack with Applin. For what, 40 damage each attack? I mean, I'm kind of fine with that, to be honest. There's another Applin. So no 4 Thwackies, which I do appreciate. They also can't use Thwacky's ability, because they have a Pokemon in the active that doesn't have the Festival Lead ability. I think they're now just realising that. They are going to evolve. So this can't be damaged by Pokemon with abilities, so this Dipplin isn't going to do anything. They haven't used Boss, so they could bring up Crustle, but then I just sit on this. And what do they do? Again, Rillaboom is a thing. That's if they play it. If they play Rillaboom. Yeah, they are just going to boss up the Crustle. Again, genuinely, kind of don't care. They just want that one prize. But then I'm just sitting on something that you can't knock out. because it can't be damaged by Pokemon with abilities. Do the wave for 100. Why is it only doing 100? Oh! The, thingy. That's what made it do 50 damage. I can't count. I thought it was 120. Because it's... Oh, it doesn't count itself. My bad. Okay. So I need energy here. Because this doesn't do anything. I'm gonna grab Spike Energy and just a Crustle. And go, my guy. Do you have Rillaboom? That's my question. Do you have Rillaboom? Like, it seems like I'm in a bad position, but again, prevent all damage from attacks done to this Pokemon by your opponent's Pokemon that have an ability. But Rillaboom is a thing, I guess. And I'm pretty sure I don't kill... I mean, it is... They're going to Kieran to switch, most likely. Or boost. They are going to switch into Applin. Probably just going to attack with this Applin. Which I actually find kind of funny. Oh my god! They have the... It's going to do so much damage. Oh my god! If I had another Spike Energy, that'd be pretty funny. Spray Fluid for 100 damage. It's not like I can just heal it off. How unfortunate. Right, so I'm gonna slap this on. Get a Hero's Cape. Yeah, we're gonna slap this on. We're gonna heal 80. We're gonna petrol for a Hero's Cape, most likely. And then we're gonna demolish. This is the game plan. Keep this thing alive and just demolish 3 times. That's the game plan. Plus I have the Super Potion. So I can Super Potion to get rid of my Grass Energy to then put on a different energy. That is that's a big brain play. They're thinking very heavily about this. Because I still have 1 more Jumbo Ice Cream. I've used 2 already. I still have Pokemon Center Lady, I have Super Potion. I have plenty of ways to heal the damage off. And I one-hit kill everything except Rillaboom. Like, if they play a Rillaboom, like, I think I just lose. Because its attack does 60 damage, I'm weak to Grass, that's 120, and then its second attack is an extra energy, and it does 180. That just kills me. They do promote Thwacky. If they have the Rillaboom in hand, no, it's just a concession. They probably didn't play the Rillaboom, or it was prized. So overall, Crustle is a very, very, very strong deck. Like, it may seem a bit easy to play and like kind of like, you know, eating glue type deck, because, you know, you just sit on a Pokemon and just hit your opponent every turn, but depending on the matchup actually matters a lot on what you use. That's why you have multiple options like Crustle, and then you also have Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon, and then you also have all these different energies to help you out and all that kind of stuff. So it actually does take some thinking. Like in that first game, I need Mist Energy in order to, you know, survive, because Alakazam doesn't deal damage, it just puts damage counters on. The second game, I've already forgotten what it was. What was the second game? Oh, it was Garchomp. They were attacking with the Gabite, because if they evolve into Garchomp, they can't hit Crustle. So they instead have to attack with a Gabite every turn, but I can just heal up all that damage, and I hit for double damage, so I instantly KO them. So that was a very favourable matchup. And then against Festival Lead, it was pretty close, especially because I had to start with Kangaskhan, and then I also just put a random... I probably shouldn't have put that Crustle down. I should have just stuck with the Cornerstone Mask, because once I realised, everything in this deck has an ability. So with Cornerstone Mask, I just can't take damage. Unless they play, again, the Rillaboom, which only some lists are playing. And yeah, if they played that Rillaboom, that was it. No, I would have lost. So there is a bit of thinking going on, and also like what energies you want to attach, because you can't just attach energy like overall on there and on there and on there. Each one matters. Like for example, if I managed to get a second Spike energy onto my Kangaskhan in that third game, once that Seeking attacked... Oh no, if I had like... Yeah, Spike energy is like, you know, pretty good. Like Spike energy on that Dipplin, it just KOs itself, but my opponent takes 3 prizes, so it kind of doesn't matter. But then I can just start going with Cornerstone Mask. It does take some thinking, even though it seems like a very glue-eating deck and a very, very simple deck to play. It does take some thinking to figure out what you want to do, how you want to plan things out, and all that kind of stuff. Because you got to think, each turn, the most I was doing was attaching an energy, using a supporter, and that was it. Like, there's not really a whole lot that goes into each turn, because you're just walling yourself up, but what you're walling yourself up with kind of does matter. At the end of the day, it is a very annoying deck. Like, I feel bad for my opponents, I'm very sorry, but I just wanted to show off the deck, because it's doing very, very well, especially in a format full of EX decks, and also a lot of decks that are just weak to grass types. Deck does very, very well. And there's also just got random indirect support, like, you know, all the grass stuff. There's also just like all these cards that just say heal a bunch of damage off of your Pokemon that have free energy on them. Crustle has specifically free energy to attack. You've also got Forest of Vitality, so later on in the game you can just bench straight into an evolve, and then you just have another wall for your opponent. Overall, I probably wouldn't play the deck myself because I don't want my opponents and my friends to hate me, but I can see why this deck does very well, and the ways to play around it do seem very, very interesting. Like, I think people are teching in random one-ofs just to counter it, like Moltres. People are taking in like a random copy of that to deal with certain stuff. I'm not sure if it actually deals with Crustle. I'm pretty sure its damage boost is only for EX Pokemon. I'm not even sure what its base damage is. I think it's only 20, but I could be wrong about that. But yeah, this deck is very powerful. It's probably going to continue to be very powerful. It's doing very well over in Japan. It's doing very well over here. It's doing incredibly well in events. Currently on Limitless, it is the second of the top decks, taking up 6.07%. And yes, I said the second top deck, because Dragapult is taking up 45% of the top decks. That's the deck to beat, and I think Crustle does do very, very well against it. Unless you're attacking with Dracloaks. But then again, I think most lists have started playing something like Moltres. You've also got Monkey Dory, so you can start moving damage onto the Crustle, but then again, you can just heal it back up. I think some lists are also playing Dunsparce, like the EX one, because that like one-hit KOs something or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, this deck is probably going to stick around for a while, until it rotates in like 2 years, or until something comes along that's just it power creeps it or something like that. But genuinely, unless something really strong comes out, or there's like a splashable Pokemon you can throw in like every deck that just instantly kills this thing, this deck is probably going to be sticking around for a very, very long time. Thank you all for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What you think about Crustle? Is this a deck that you have started playing? Is this a deck that you absolutely hate? Because I know a lot of people hate this deck because it's a control deck, it's a stall deck, it's a wall deck. People don't like those. But as someone who has played control decks in the past, in other card games, I kind of like it. It's kind of fun to just annoy your opponent sometimes. But I can understand the hate, and if I was up against this deck myself as someone who plays Zoroark, then I would greatly understand the hate, because what do? I'm pretty sure it's just an instant loss for me, because Zoroark is an EX, and it has an ability. Like, I guess I could shred with Zekrom, but even then, it's going to take 3 hits to KO because it only does 70 damage. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments what you think about this deck and this card in general. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. All of that nonsense. Any and all support is greatly appreciated, and you watching this video, take care.